Welcome back to the Paddle and Fin Podcast Network. We're brought to you by Pelican, built tough for all situations. Go to pelican.com. Yak Gadget, for all your fine kayak fishing accessory needs. Go to yakgadget.com. Eastport Marina, on the beautiful shores of Dale Hollow Lake. For all your lodging, kayaking, and fishing needs, go to eastport.info. Now let's get this show started.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Bass Thumbs Fishing Podcast, where we are constantly trying to keep our thumbs ripped up. Tonight, we have a very special episode. We are currently live right now on our Facebook and YouTube. So really looking forward to your guys' questions as we get this thing rolling. But we got Mr. Cody Henley on, the KBF, the 10 champion, is with us tonight. And I'm also going to be joined by Brian Schiller, and I'll bring him on in a second. Really excited about tonight. Can't wait to dive into Cody's approach to the 10 and his epic trip out to the East Coast, especially being from the Western region, being from Utah. He went out there and just went on an absolute tear, going through KBF, bass, and Hobie. Just had an incredible trip out there, and I can't wait to hear all about it, as I'm sure you guys can either. He has been on a few podcasts recently, so tonight we're just going to kind of dive into, to his mindset, Bass Thumb style. Really looking forward to it. But I got a couple housekeeping things first to start us off for the night. First thing up, I'm going to go ahead and shout out the Paddle and Fin Open on Dale Hollow. For those of you that are out in Tennessee or want to travel out to Dale Hollow, at Eastport Marina and Resort, the Paddle and Fin family is going to be out there. It's going to be a 2-day tourney. Really looking forward to being out there, coming out from California with my wife, Kristen. And man, it's just going to be a great time. Can't wait to spend some time with the Paddle and Fin family, the host family, and then, get to see all you guys out there as well. Can't wait to meet some of you guys and fish on Dale Hollow. It's going to be epic. I cannot wait for that. Also, something kind of new that I'm going to start to add to the podcast. We're going to have a West Coast update maybe once every other week from the Motherlode Kayak Angler and westernbass.com. So basically, I'm just going to run through some of the series that are going on out here in the Western region. First up, we got the ABA Ironman Kayak Series. We had the season opener out on Lake Paris on February 12th and 13th. And John DeMonet of Downey, California, dominated the field with a 2-day total of 166.75 inches, including a 101-inch limit on day one during a very tough bite. He also captured the Big Fish Award with a 22 3/4-inch hog. Next up for the ABA is the California Delta during prime time on March 26th and 27th, launching out of Contra Costa. And one thing I want to add about that event is that the ABA is going to be transitioning for this event to Fishing Chaos. So we're going to be on Fishing Chaos for the remainder of the season because of the partnership that we have now with KBF. We got 2 trail events that are going to be going on at the same time for our San Vicente and Otay tournaments. So we're going to have more opportunity for our anglers down here in Southern California and the whole Western region by adding 4 trails on 2 weekends to our schedule. And we transition to Fishing Chaos. That way we don't have to go between 2 different apps on the same day. So the ABA will now be on Fishing Chaos, and you can find that Delta tournament on Fishing Chaos. If you guys want more information about that, you can reach out to me personally on Bass Thumbs Fishing on Instagram. Up next, we got the California Kayak Bass Nation Series. They had a season opener on Lake Shasta, and we did a episode on that last week with John Myers and Chase Murdoch. But Chase Murdoch of San Francisco, California, and John Myers of Atwater, California, tied up it at 156.5 inches for 2 days. Ultimately, it was Chase who would be declared the champion, secondary to the tiebreaker rule of the largest first day total. Next up for California Bass Nation is Lake Party on March 6th. For the KBF Trail Series, there was a KBF Yakabass dual event on Folsom on February 19th and 20th. Chris Spencer of Orem, Utah, drove in and took the entire event, winning the overall victory in the biggest bags on days 1 and 2 in the Yakabass event. and securing both KBF trail events and the Pro Series division with a 2-day total of 169 inches. Congratulations, Chris. And I'm actually going to have Chris Spencer on next week on the Bass Thumbs Fishing Podcast, and we're going to be able to hear all about his absolute dominating performance out here in California at Folsom. Next up for the KBF Trail Series out here in the Western region is going to be at Roosevelt Lake in Arizona on March 19th and 20th. If you guys want more information about that Roosevelt trip, go ahead and reach out to Bryce Gibbs. Bryce Gibbs will answer all your questions. And I heard Fluke Master is going to be there as well. So that should be a pretty epic trip. I am trying to make it to that one. I just don't know if I'm gonna be able to swing it because I got the Dale Hollow coming up a couple of weeks after that. So if you guys are from Arizona or around Arizona and want to make it to a KBF trail, make sure you guys check out Roosevelt. Next up, we got SoCal Kayak Anglers. They have a season opener on Lower Otay. It's actually a membership drive. So for those of you guys that are looking for like a grassroots feel, Lower Otay Reservoir on March 12th. Make sure you guys go check out at SoCal Kayak Anglers for more information. Next up, we got the Wild West Bass Trail Kayak Series season opener on Lake Shasta. It's a dual event. Or they had the season opener with on Lake Shasta with California Bass Nation on February 5th and 6th. And John Myers won the Wild West Bass Trail Kayak Series with a 2-day total of 156.5. And this is coming off the heels of a 2021 TOC victory on Thermalito Afterbase. So he won the last event of the Wild West Bass Trail and the first event of the Wild West Bass Trail. So congratulations, John. And last but not least, we got Yakabass. They just had that dual event at Folsom, but their next event is at Lake Oroville on March 19th and 20th. So huge shout out to Motherlode Kayak Angler for giving this report. He's trying his best to cover the entire Western region. Check out motherlodekayakangler.com, your one-stop for kayak tournament bass fishing on the West Coast. Check out westernbass.com for tournament recaps and everything bass fishing on the West Coast. Boom. So that's really cool. I think it's cool to get a report from him. He's doing a great job. Make sure you guys go check out his website, and you guys can stay updated with everything that's going on out here in the Western region. There's a lot of opportunities for anglers throughout the whole region. So huge shout out to you. Really appreciate that report. Again, I'll probably do that maybe once a month or maybe once every other week just to give you guys an update on what's going on out here. So anyways, I really got no new updates for myself. Just excited to have Cody on tonight. I'm going to go ahead and bring on the one and only Brian Schiller.
What's up, Brian? Hey, how's it going?
Hey, dude. Yeah, we're doing a podcast tonight.
Oh, yeah. My bad. What's up, brother?
Brian, I appreciate you coming on. I figured it'd be fun to have you on as well. You own Paddle and Fin, and you're putting together, the whole event out there at Dale Hollow, and I can't wait to come out and hang out with you guys. And I just appreciate the opportunity that you've given me personally for this platform on Paddle and Fin, and it should be fun tonight.
Speaking of which, your invoice is past due, bro.
Yep, I'll send that over soon. But you also were at
payments in the mail, bro.
But you also were at Kissimmee too, so I feel like it'd be cool when we talk to Cody about Kissimmee specifically, because we're going to concentrate on the 10 and how he won the 10. So it'll be cool to hear your side as well, and you can ask questions as well.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot there, but I'm interested to hear how Cody got it done, because it was tough for me. I know it was tough for a lot of guys, especially like with the weather in play for the 10 Invitational, the Trail Series, the Pro Tour, tournaments. And then it seemed like the weather got a little bit better later in the week when they did the 10. Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see, because I think Cody fished everything, right?
Yeah. He pretty much fished everything and almost.
He's shaking
almost
his head, yes.
I know, and he almost won everything too.
Yeah.
So
yeah, right. So
all right.
No, it's cool, man.
Yeah. No, I'm stoked to have you on. I think maybe we'll do some more like this too. And I'm stoked to be live. We got like 9 people watching right now, and for those of you watching, I'm not sure if we have any comments yet. It looks like we have a few. We got James Snyder in the house. We got
Facebook
Craig
user
Brachers in the house, and a Facebook user in the house. We have a few other guys on. So towards the end of the episode tonight. If you guys want to ask some questions, we'll kind of scroll through and answer some questions that you guys may have for Cody.
Oh, my man,
Cody,
Romel is in the house.
Romel the Wizard's in the house. What's up, Romel? So we are. Let's just bring Cody in here. Let's get a drum roll for Cody.
Boom!
Oh, where'd he go?
We hit the button at the same time.
Oh, we did.
Yeah.
What's up, Cody? Hey, it looks like your mic is off.
He's muted.
Can't unmute your guest. Unmute your mic, Cody.
Yeah, now I'm not unmuted.
There you go.
There we
you go. What's up, Cody? How's it going, man?
Great. Everything is great besides the snow again. So, talked to last night. We were James and Josh. It snowed again. Well, it's snowing still.
I know you've been pretty busy with the podcast lately, dude. So we appreciate you coming on once again.
Yeah, no, for sure, man. It's been fun.
Yeah, and congratulations. You can see those nice checks and trophies in the background. And one of the biggest reasons that you're on tonight is because you are the first Western region angler to win the 10. So I cannot wait to unpack that. But first, what I ask every guest, Cody, have you ever looked to your wife or your friends and after a long day of fishing, maybe out on Kissimmee, and just bragged about how ripped up your thumbs are? Or are your thumbs currently ripped up right now as we speak?
Yes. Still.
Have you ever had them bleed before?
Oh, almost every trip.
Almost every trip. Wow. And then I'm sure at Kissimmee, your palms were ripped, your hands were ripped, your forearms were probably ripped with those big ones you were catching, huh?
Well, actually, I mean, the tips of my fingers were, but I ended up getting some gloves, man. It was cold.
Okay.
It was
Yeah, it was.
freezing every day. I almost froze to death and died.
Yeah.
It was miserable. I thought we were going to the Sunshine State. We get down there. The first couple of days were good, but as soon as tournament started, woo, it was rough.
Yeah, it just dropped.
That's crazy. I know. I saw those posts that you guys were posting up about that, and I was sitting out here in California, just on the beach with my toes in the sand and just hanging out. It was fun.
Must be rough.
No, but first things first, Cody. For my show at least, this is your first time on the Bass Sons Fishing Podcast, and it'd just be cool to see, who is Cody Henley? What kind of kayak do you fish out of? How'd you start fishing? How'd you fall in love with fishing? Let's just get a little intro for Cody. Who's Cody Henley?
I don't know. You asked me. No. Who is Cody Henley? That's a good question. You should have prepped me for this, man. I don't know who Cody Henley. No. So I have been. I've probably been kayak fishing since 2014. I would say, like, that's when I had my first kayak. I was I stopped fishing there for a while. My dad passed away in a car wreck, and I kind of just lost all interest in doing really anything. Me and him, because me and him grew up fishing every week, every weekend. I ate bass every night, and I feel bad if I hook them in the wrong spot now, much less eating them. But that's literally all we did was hunt and fish, and I kind of got out of it for a while, and I would say probably when I was 22 or 23, somewhere up in there, I was working offshore on a drilling rig, and I'd actually been praying what I should do with my life, where I should go, and I actually decided to serve a mission for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And right when I'd quit my job, I actually fished literally just God's like, hey, I want you to start back fishing again. I probably spent like $8,000 in tackle, literally hadn't fished in so long, at least 6-7 years. And I fished for a year straight. I had a kayak, I had a John boat, I had all the trolling motor stuff to throw those 2 12-volt big freaking lead batteries in the thing and weigh the kayak or weigh the thing down about flip you over. I didn't know nothing about no lithium batteries back then. And just got super hooked on it, man. Just got so hooked on it. It was unreal. And went on my mission, came home. I went back to Mississippi and hung out with my mom for 5 weeks, 6 weeks. And I kind of had a rougher life growing up. So I kind of hey, I want to get away from that. I don't want to do that anymore. So I'm going to move to Utah. And my uncle lived out here. I actually served my mission in Utah. So I loved it so much while I was here for 2 years. I came right back and got married. Well, right when I got married, I brought my wife back to Mississippi. And if we wouldn't have been engaged, I don't know, maybe she wouldn't even have married me. But I fished for 8 days straight. And she's like, okay, can we do something else now? But literally every day I'm like, oh, we got to go to this lake. We got to go do this. And that was it for me. That was 100% over for me. I came to Utah, came back, and I didn't know there were bass even in Utah. And it was the weirdest thing, dude. Me and my wife had missed our flight. Did we stay the night in Dallas? We stayed the night in Dallas. The next morning we get on a plane and I've just had the most epic fishing trip of my life. I'm like online looking for fishing reels. And I think I was looking at some Shimano or something. Some dude looked over my shoulder, like creeping on me. He's like, well, what you going to get? And we were in the same gate to go to Salt Lake City. And I'm like, well, I'm trying to decide on what I need to ship home back to go fishing in Mississippi and this, that. He's like, and then he starts telling me about all these bass in Utah. I'm like, what you mean? Where at? What lake? Where are we going? And he's like, dude, they're everywhere. They're in every lake. But he's like, they're more smallmouth than anything. I'm like, what's a smallmouth? I didn't have a clue what a smallmouth was. Like, I'd fished largemouth my whole life, and that's literally all that I'd ever fished. And I went out and fished this lake called Deer Creek Reservoir, and I met someone. I still don't remember who that was. I met someone fishing out on that lake, and he was like, he or she, it might have been a girl, it might have been a boy. I really don't remember. It was like, I'm just pre-fishing for the tournament next week. I'm like, what you mean tournament? Where we go? Because I mean, I'd fished a few tournaments growing up, not like no serious, but found the bass boat stuff and got in and fished some stuff with my buddies, like the two team tournaments and 2 people tournaments, 2 team. And she told me about the Facebook group. I reached out to the tournament directors and they're like, yeah, you just got to sign up, do this, do that. And I'm like, oh, dude, I'm there. What do you want me to do? I borrowed my brother-in-law, Casey Borwaller's kayak, and he had a Pescador Pilot. And it had like those pedal things in it. And I was like, dude, this thing is dope. This thing is awesome. Like, this is a dream compared to paddling. And went out there, and I didn't do good, man. I got like 62 inches. I'm pretty sure Chris Spencer, who you're having on next time, he won that event. Maybe I might be wrong, but I won big bass is what I won. And dude, over 100% done. I looked up every tournament, every series that was close to me. I started fishing the boat tournament, started fishing the kayak tournaments. That year I didn't sign up to be a member, so I couldn't qualify for their national championship. But the next year I did. I bought a Hobie. I bought a 2017 Hobie Pro Angler 14-foot with a 180 drive. I won Angler of the Year the next year, and then I won Angler of the Year the following year in Utah. And
wow,
I guess that would be last year that I'd won my second year in a row for Angler of the Year, and started, just doing more research and found out, there's series, there's big series, there's California series. I got in touch with Chad. Chad came out to Utah. He's like, hey man, all you gotta do is go fish this. He's like, the 10. I'm like, what's the 10? What is that? What do you mean? Like, what? He's like, well, it's just like the top 10 in the country, man. You just got to fish 3 events and then do the national championships and do good. I'm like, And that year in California, I don't know if you remember, but it was you remember the West Coast Championship in California?
yeah.
So there was a KBF trail Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. It lined up 3 because there wasn't that much out there in California.
Yeah.
And I think I took second in the West Coast Championship, and I won a KBF trail. I took a 4th, and I think I took another 9th. And I think that put me in like 17th or 18th place overall as my top. And that was the only 3 events that I'd fished. So there wasn't going to be any drop tournaments in that one. So I just went down to the national championships and didn't do great by all means. But
so that was your first time at Clear Lake? Was your first time fishing KBF?
Yeah, that was. I think no. So one other tournament before that, the year before, when I was like trying to grasp what was going on, I drove out. Me and Cayman Rasmussen drove to Roosevelt Lake, and then that was the only other KBF trail that I'd ever fished before.
Wow. Okay, so after the August KBF trail, then you decided to go to the national championship.
Yep, went down to the national championship. I flew. Huge shout out to Cayman Rasmussen. He drove all my stuff down
Awesome.
and met me down there. I have a really bad back, man. That's really what's caused every bit of this for me to quit my electrical job, start my own bait company, and travel. And this will be my first year to actually go fishing full time, and then I'll travel the world and just go to. I think I have 22 national trails right now, or something like that. So this will be my first full in, and at the national championships, I think I took 15th, and I took one place above Casey Reed, and me and him were like the two closest in our standings.
Neck
And
neck.
I think I beat him by 1 point.
Oh,
Yeah,
I think that's the second year Casey's taken 11.
It was.
Yep.
It was
Oh.
because Chad paid. Chad like, dude, I feel terrible, man. I'm paying for your Invitational in or your entry fee.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Man, Cody went out there and swiped it.
Yeah, man, it went really good. So that's pretty much where we are now, like this last year I fished 3 national events, and it was the KBF trails. And then, yeah, that's it, man. This will be all full national events. I won't really, I'm going to try to fish my local trail here because just the group, Aaron, Mathis, and Joe Randall are just literally amazing tournament directors, and the support that they've shown me and us as a group. So I definitely want to, but I got trip after trip after trip this year.
Brian, are you hearing this, bro? Like, this is his first. He just went to one weekend for KBF, fished 3 events that weekend. Goes to the national championship.
I mean, it happens, dude. Like
wow.
I was just looking at, because on for the fantasy kayak fishing, we got what everybody made last year, and a lot of guys that are on that list and towards the top, like they did okay during the season, but when it came to the NC, that's when they won their money for the year. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and I remember like seeing the 10 when that got announced, and I was like, who's this Cody Henley dude? You know what I mean?
I know, dude.
And I think a lot of people like, but that's happened multiple years in a row, because before you, it was Matthew Conant. Before that, it was Derek Brundle. Like rookies that came out of nowhere and just crushed it in both the NC and the 10, which is awesome. It's awesome, dude. It's cool to see, like back in the day when like poker was a small thing, you'd see the same guys win the World Series of poker. Now it's just some random dude pretty much every year. And it's the same thing with kayak bass fishing. Now that like it's gotten so big, you're seeing all these new names, new guys, and it's affording these opportunities. Like Cody, you must have been on the road for like what, the past month, right? Because you did
29 days.
Yeah, you did the KBF, the bass, and the Hobie event. Like it's cool that like this sport allows you to do that. You know what I mean? So kudos to you, man.
It's amazing, man. Like, I'm fishing for a full-time job. Like, what?
Yeah.
So how long have you been making your baits? Because I just ordered some baits, but don't tell anyone the color I ordered. Okay.
But you could send that to me later.
No, but how long have you been doing your baits, and where can people find your baits, and plug your baits in right now?
So the same thing for my my face or Instagram, and I'm not gonna like point you out, but that Instagram it's canceled that you have on the page. It's just the Henley Custom Lures. That's the only Instagram I have. That one doesn't work.
Oh,
I can't. I don't know why I can't. No, you're good, dude.
I was trying to help you out, bro.
I can't. No, I appreciate it, dude. I can't get into it though. It's just my Henley Custom Lures is the only one that I can get into. And the same thing for me, just a generic, just HenleyCustomLures.com.
Yeah.
And my Instagram's turned more into like my fishing page, but I will still post like videos of my lures that I make. But I've probably been into making lures for probably a year and a half, but I didn't really officially become a business until when? Leash? Last year, this time. So right at a year where you've officially been a business. So that means I've been doing it for a year and a half then. I would say right at a year and a half or a little bit over a year.
That's awesome. And I mean, you
Appreciate
guys,
it, Brink.
this guy comes to the West Coast Championship, dominates the national championship, and then dominates the 10. And I'm sure he had some Henley custom lures in his back pocket. So
Yep.
I don't
That's
know
all I
what's in
throw,
those
man.
custom lures, but I definitely ordered myself some, and I can't wait to get those in my hands and see what I can do. And maybe I'll win the 10 with them, Maybe, you never
That's
know.
right, man.
There you go. There you go.
So what was that? I mean, okay, so we're at the 10 now. So I guess leading up to the 10, what was like your staple lure that you gained a lot of confidence in through that run leading up to the 10?
Leading up to the 10 would probably be
Because you're fishing Clear Lake and you're fishing Caddo, so I'm sure. And then I saw
yeah.
you were posting stuff about the Golden Shiner, so that's not really like
Yeah.
that big of a secret. But
Yeah, no,
was it the
for sure.
jackhammer? Was it
Yeah,
like
it
soft
was. I
plastic?
feel like
Yeah.
the jackhammer just played a huge role for me. I was flipping quite a bit as well, but the jackhammer. Now, we'll say the trailer was. I definitely won't be telling anyone about the trailer, but I will be like the jackhammer because the trailer was an accident. This is usually like I always. This is usually what I throw on my trailer. It's
Uh-huh.
literally like a Rage Menace with like a ribbed body,
Yeah, I
and
was looking at that. It looks nice.
and it kicks like crazy. I rigged that bad boy vertical, and Adam McCluskey showed me to rig it vertical because he's another buddy of mine up here, and that's all he uses on this chatterbait trailer. But I
Yeah.
just missed a fish. I think this was during like the one of the 10 invitationals or one of the trails, and I
Uh-huh.
just missed a fish, and he literally like I'm pretty sure he broke me off. That's what it was. He broke me off. I usually retie after every 2 fish, man. That's it right there, and I just looked down at the bottom. I was throwing a golden shiner, and I just saw a black and blue just sitting down on the bottom. And I grabbed it and just threaded it on, chunked it out there. I caught a 21, like literally the first cast. So after I measured that fish, I'm like, was that a fluke? What was going on? And I threw that thing in the water, and dude, the way the action was, I'm like, how have I never thrown this on a jackhammer? Like, what am I doing? And luckily I had some colors to match the golden shiner, and then I had some colors to match white, so it worked out perfect for me because I only
That's awesome.
brought like maybe like 7 to 10 different styles going down there to Kissimmee, and yeah. But I would probably say the chatterbait played definitely my number one role, even going into it, because I found the chatterbait bite day one of the trail because that was a practice day for me. In my opinion, that
Yeah.
was a practice day.
Yeah. Dude, that is so awesome. So I know that you're also on Team Yak Rods as well, right?
Yeah,
You got a full thing with Yak Rods, which I
yes.
saw their video, and what they did for you was really awesome.
Oh man, that
So
was insane,
I
dude.
was
I'm
I
like,
was watching your whole like process, bro. Like you go to the national championship, and then I see that, and then we're like, all right, now he's going to the 10. And then we were just like, we were all cheering on. I remember I was messaging you, like, just like, dude, like you're from West Coast, like, it's so awesome to see a guy from the West Coast go out there and just, basically just dedicate his whole entire month
thank
to this
you.
journey that you went on. And so what kind of rod from Yak Rods were you throwing that chatterbait on? Like what's your like your favorite rod for a chatterbait, like
So they
action wise and stuff?
actually have a chatterbait rod. It's called the X Chatter. It's literally designed for the chatterbait, and like they're not. They put a lot of work in their stuff, man. I'm going to be honest. Initially going and swapping, I'm not one to change. Like if I'm going to go get Italian herbs and cheese from Subway, I'm probably going to get the same thing every single time. I just don't swap up,
Oh, dude,
man.
that's so great.
And it was just super hard for me to like switch, but I'm like, yeah, you know what? I'll jump on and just see how it goes. I've never had an ambassador or anything like that, I'm like,
Yeah.
and after getting their X chatter and getting used to their rods, the sensitivity, how versatile they are, like for their process to building a rod, I probably had 3 prototype rods of a chat. That's it. I had 3 of those. I have 3 different styles, and they built them from the ground up. They don't buy blanks and say, "Hey, let's just put some attachments on them." they build everything from the ground up. And I had some with glass tips. I had some that were too soft. I had some that were just back and forth. And after getting this composite X Chatter, that's what it's a composite rod. It's X Chatter 672 medium heavy. It's got a fast action, and literally this thing is phenomenal. It's got just enough tip where if they do eat it, if they do turn away, that tip will just give them a little bit of action. But at the same time, when you yeet on them son of a guns, I promise you they're going to flip up out of the water. And I boat flip everything, man. I boat flipped at the Hobie BOS a 6.1 pound, like a 21 and a half or 21 and a quarter. I can't remember what it was.
Do you even carry a net?
I do, because but every time I use those freaking nets, I just lose everything. Like, I try to play them. I'm just not a fan of playing them. If you'll ever watch any of my YouTubes or anything that I shoot up, dude, it's literally, I'm just skiing them bad boys across the water as fast as I can. I even run like an 8:5 to 1 gear ratio on my jackhammer reel.
That's awesome, dude.
So yeah, that rod played such a huge role, man. Probably every single fish was caught off that. As a matter of fact, no, every single fish was caught off that, because I was using another X Chatter as a flipping rod. So I mean, yep, every single fish during the tournament was caught off an X Chatter from Yak rods.
So let's get into the 10 a little bit. And Brian, I know that you were there, so you might have a little bit more questions than I would, because you were literally in Kissimmee during the same time. But
well, I guess start out, what lake did you fish?
You want me to give you the rundown of what made me go to that lake, or what?
Yeah, give me everything, dude.
Okay,
I was like, well, before I went down there, and I talked about this on a podcast, right? Because I have a friend that used to live down there and fish it a lot. And I said, what should I expect? And he goes, I'll tell you right now, the problem with down there is everything looks sexy. And
everything.
Right. And he's like, but you'll fish, this mat over here, not catch a single thing. Turn around and fish the one behind you, and you'll catch 20. Like, that's the way it goes.
And then you'll go another 7 miles without catching a single fish.
Yeah, exactly.
That's crazy.
Exactly, dude.
So what?
Yeah. So
go ahead, man.
Me going into the 10, kind of the same thing, Rod. I had a really good friend that lived in Utah, and he moved to Orlando. His name was his name is Preston Higgins. And going in, I'm like, dude, what should I do? Where should I go? Like, what all lakes have you fished on the chain? And he's like, man, I haven't been fishing in a while, because it was when I reached out to him, it came it was still winter, so it was really cold. He's like, I haven't been fishing since last fall or anything like that. He's like, but only lake we go to is East Lake Toho. And you go online, you won't find a single video about that lake. You won't find nothing. You won't find no research. I mean, you'll find a tiny bit, whether the canals will be running of how much feet per second the water comes in, or whatever the correct term is. And I couldn't find anything on that thing, dude. So he's like, I haven't really been to Big Toho or Kissimmee, but everywhere you hear down there, Big Toho, Kissimmee, flipping mats, and just all these rattle traps offshore. I just got Panoptics on my kayak as well, too. So I'm like, oh, I'm going to try that. Yeah, I tried it. I suck. Scratch that. So day one of my practice, I went out to East Toho, and I had a decent day. Actually, it wasn't great, because we had some weather come in. I think I caught 118, a 17, and the rest were 12 inchers. So I was like, cool, let's go to the real lakes. So I jumped off, and I went to Big Toho. Giant at Kissimmee. I think it would have been my PB, but that was the only bite I got in 6 hours. Now, we did have a rainstorm come through, and the temperature dropped from 60 to 42 as well. But I just didn't like how vast they were, how huge they were, how everything looked so juicy. And where do I go? Where do I start? Okay, I found some hydrilla, but I can't get nothing to hit in that hydrilla. Oh, there's no more hydrilla for 7 miles. But then I'm like, okay, I'll go back to Big Toho, give it another shot. And just scratched out there, man. I had 2 full days of no bites. And I think I went and explored I don't know the name of it. But it pretty much the day before the trail started, it was a Thursday, and Yak Rods, Tandy and Scott and them actually had hired a videographer to come down, and we had already scheduled for East Toho. And there wasn't really like, I was like, nah, that's fine. We'll go out there for a couple hours. I'll video and then go to another lake. Well, that day, my third or fourth cast, I hooked into a pickerel, broke off. I was super upset. I'm like, Jay, this is just going to be great. I'm so excited to be here again. Well, luckily, I went to a different part of the lake. And I mean, within 20 minutes, I was catching fish left and right. And I'm like, maybe I should come here. And then I hooked into a 6 and I hooked into a 5. And I'm like, oh, maybe I should stop fishing actually. And this was Thursday. I try not to hook fish from Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. But I was like, oh, I'm not coming here. What's the big deal? You know, they'll reload even if I do decide to come here.
Sure.
And Friday came around and I'm like, I know that lake is decent. Let's see if I can go catch fish elsewhere. And me and Cayman Rasmussen were splitting up. He was checking other lakes while I was checking this lake. He was checking other lakes while I was checking this lake. And we went to Marion on Friday, Marianne. And I knew that's where Ken Wood and Russ Snyder's had actually fought it out the year before or 2 years before. And that's where everything was won. So I'm like, but the fishing was great. But there was everybody and their sister and their brother was there, and they were just hanging out, patting each other on the back, saying, "Good job, keep up the good work. You want to fish my spot?" Like I'm just don't do good with people, man. Like it just kind of gets in my head, and it's something I'm really working on this year. But I'm like, dude, there's no way I'm going there. I hooked into like a 22, a 21, and another 18, and I just stopped fishing because, like, at the same time, I was like, dang, this is probably where I'm going to go because the fish that I was catching at East Toho were dinks. You know, cool, I caught 3 big fish in 27 hours of fishing, you know, but what can that do for me? There's nothing taught or wrote about it, or there's not a ton of stuff of intel about how good East Toho is. So day one of the trail, I rolled up and I'm like, do I go to Marion? Do I go to East Toho? What do I do? And just last minute, I decided. I didn't even have a clue what I was doing that night. I usually don't do that. But I just kept telling myself, this is a practice day. That's all it is. This is a practice day. There's going to be another lake open up on Monday. We'll get to go pre-fish that lake. So we're good. No worries. Went to East Toho, and I get there, and I'm thinking that those reeds are going to be – are y'all still here?
Yeah, you're good, man.
Yeah, we're still here.
Y'all just
I'm just blowing you up, bro.
We're just giving you the floor, bro.
You're good, dude. So I went to East Toho, and I figured the reeds of where I was fishing behind the reeds were going to be enough to hold the wind. Well, I promise you, whatever y'all were getting, East Toho was getting 5 to 15 miles more. By the time it got across the lake, it was like 7-foot rollers. I literally stuck my power pole down in, just waiting out there, and all you could see was this little light. I couldn't see anything. The wind is just ripping. And I literally, my kayak got wedged up on its side, and literally everything just starts flipping over. I'm trying to like grab the reed and jerk me back over. And I'm like, dude, I got to get out of here. So I just packed up and went to some random launch that I hadn't been to. And I scattered around for a little while, like a chicken with his head cut off. And then I finally just sat down, ate lunch. I said, cool, it's 12 o'clock. It's a practice day. But then I started thinking, I said, get yourself together. And I just started turning and burning, man. I turned that Newport Vessels motor probably on 20 to 45 to 35% and ran it at 1.6 to 2.4 miles per hour and found a little, like, it looked like just where people have been going back and forth, you know, like those channels that cut through the grass down there, and just caught a bunch of dinks, you know.
Hey, Cody, were you controlling that thing with your foot?
Yes.
Brian, did you see that?
No.
He was literally fishing. You somehow learned how to control that.
Kick it. Did you see me kicking it?
I saw you kicking it.
Yeah.
That was pretty impressive, bro. I know a lot of guys were looking at that like, dude, is he standing up and using that pedal with his foot? That's pretty sick.
Yeah.
As he's burning a chatterbait hooking into 5-pounders.
Well, I didn't
Oh,
get no
man.
vibes that day, man. I caught
Okay.
I think a 16 or a 17 that day. I think I ended the day with like 79 inches. I know I was in like 14th for the trail and then like 9th or 10th for the pro or Invitational. Or the Invitational, I was actually in like 15th or 14th. But the pro series, there was a little bit less people. So I think I was sitting in like 10th. And day 2, I was like, well, hey, I found fish. I'm not going to go chance it with 160 other people because I drove around that whole entire lake just looking for somewhere to launch. And I didn't get back on the water till 11:30, and I didn't see but maybe 4 other people in the whole lake. So I'm like, there's not a lot of people here. If I can get something special here, we're done. Like it's game.
Yeah.
Like it's just not done, but it's game time. If I can get something here by myself, and the next day was a little bit different. I rolled out and when I got where I wanted to fish, actually where I did the photo shoot, and I get there, when I got off the water the day before, the water was like 55, 57, close to 60 during the end of the day. And rolled up, it was 42, 43 degrees. And I just started to freak out, man. I started to worry. I'm like, I got to get out of here. I got to go find somewhere else. And all I could think about was all that water got pushed over here. I figured it'd be warm, but it was just underturning and pulling all that water from underneath that surface water temperature and just giving it all the cold water to me. And I said, okay, I'll give myself 1 hour. If I don't have a fish, I'm bouncing. Third cast, I caught a 14-incher. Seventh cast, I caught another 15-incher. So I'm like, they're hitting this in 45-degree temps, dude. Let's go. So I started running the pattern that I actually wanted to do on day 1, and
Which was a jackhammer.
yeah, it was a jackhammer, but a little bit slower this time. We had decent wind that day, which was perfect because it made those fish a little bit more active. You can still get a jackhammer bite
So
in that
when
calm
Cody
day.
when Cody says a little bit slower, it's not like this. It's like this.
Yeah,
Just kidding.
it was still pretty quick. I'm not gonna lie. I love how that jackhammer, man, it's made to run at a certain speed, right?
It
But
darts, yeah.
if you overturn that thing, it just darts left and right and just does some, you're not going to know what it's going to do, but it does some sporadic actions and it just triggers those fish. Like it's literally just the second I'll burn that thing and stop, bam, they'll just smack it. So it worked out good. I think after those 2 14s, I only caught 7 fish that day. So, but they were the right fish. After that, I caught a 1925 or 19 something. Next fish was an 18. It's like 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock in the morning, super early. And I'm like, dude, we got this. If I can get back and at least catch up and hit 100 inches today, I might be able to win the pro series. And after that, I broke off to a stud. I was fishing this channel and I turned in where the reeds were and there was another channel. And I literally was just flipping in there and it was protected. So the wind wasn't rolling and the water was like 6 to 10 foot visibility. So that's why I had to throw something besides white or just a more natural color. And all of a sudden I see this little, probably 2021 dart out of the bushes, just choking. I freaked out and it was right at the nose and I jerked on it too hard. I was used to my P-Line Tactical and I just swapped over to P-Line Ultimate. And the Ultimate has like a lot less stretch, almost no stretch. Like still my favorite line in the world, but I jerked way too hard and my drag wasn't set. I usually use my drag with my thumb a lot of times, but it broke off. I was like trying to keep myself together. I screamed. I'm like, no, I needed that fish. And I laid back. I remember I laid back and said, hey, keep it together. Because, I mean, that mental game is almost 98.9% of everything. Because you think about it, when you get hyped, what do? You start catching fish, right? Like it's with anything. It's football, baseball, anything like that. It just pumps you up.
Yeah.
I rolled out to the next cove, and as soon as my jackhammer hit the waters, I literally just jerked on it to rip it out of the grass. As soon as it came free from the grass, I caught a 9. It was 23 1/4.
Jesus.
I used the net. I definitely
I used the net.
on that. See, so the net.
Oh,
the
bro,
net-
I thought you were gonna say you boat flipped that thing.
No.
Come on, dude.
No, the net does come in handy for some applications, man. But I'm always freaking out so bad because I remember when that fish, I was like, dang, it's caught up, and then it just boom peeled out in front of that channel, just wide open. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Oh, dude.
I thought it was like what 5 or 6 pounder, 20 inches. I would do, we're good. And I started to come up, and he came up and jumped right in front of the boat, literally the head on. I'm like, oh my gosh. I freaked out. I reeled down, grabbed my rod, just picked my rod up, went to grab the net, and he went under my boat. But then all I could think of, I said, I got P-line ultimate abrasive, and I just started tugging him back, and literally just I felt him hit my drive, like the line just go through my drive. Right as soon as my net came down, I scooped him, and he flipped, and he literally just flipped right in my net, and the jackhammer popped out. I'm like,
oh God.
oh, dude, it was unreal. And that
I
momentum,
just felt like I was right next to you during that.
oh, dude, it was insane. And that momentum
That was a
just
great
kept
description. That
dude,
was
it
awesome.
just kept me, appreciate it, kept me rolling so strong. Like, I'm like, I got this. I got towards the end of the day, I still had those 214s. And I'm like, okay, I went down my bank. I've gotten into more Kissimmee grass. The bites died for me. I need 2 more fish. You know, I have a limit, and I think I was actually sitting in first. I think I was still in first with like 91 inches, but
This
I
is the
wasn't.
Pro Series, right?
Yes, this is day 2 trail.
Yeah.
I was first in the trail, and then I was first in the pro. No, I was first in the Pro Series because Jason didn't have service. So, and then I was first in the Invitational as well. So I started circling back. I get a little away from the Kissimmee grass, and I remember I picked the channels because I only had like 2 hours left. So I picked the channels that were the most productive for me, that had the most waypoints marked. I rolled out and I turned around and I'm sitting on the edge of this channel and literally just constantly flipping that chatterbait in little different sections. And I flipped it right up next to the reed line, and I'm running my rod, like just trying to keep it right by the grass. And then I caught an 1825, and I think I had 32 minutes left. And I then went back and forth a couple of times, and I was literally right where I launched. And I'm like, there's no way there's a fish right where I launched in this channel. I pulled out another, either 17 or an 18. I think it had me at like 97.75 or something inches. And
Wow.
that was it. That was a wrap for me.
Let me ask you this: being from Utah, and when you see that the Invitational and the 10 and everything is in Kissimmee, never been to Kissimmee, never fished Florida before, right? That was your first time.
Mm-hmm.
So being from Utah, I'm sure the bite isn't like super wide open all the time. So like your confidence going out to Kissimmee, like when you're out there during practice and it's tough, do you feel like being from Utah, fishing Utah, you know, for the majority of your kayak fishing, do you feel like that gave you like this edge on like just staying confident even when it was tough for you in the beginning of your practice?
In different perspectives, yes. Utah has taught me. I've never owned a spinning rod in my life until I came out to Utah. And, you know, Utah has taught me so much of how to slow down, because this drop shot or net rig is what you're going to win most things on, unless we're at a largemouth lake where we can throw a frog or a chatterbait or stuff like that, or flip near some grass or punch. And there's not too many of that, you know, like. But like here in Utah, I've had to slow down so much and literally pick everything apart. You know,
Yeah.
like when I won the national championships in Utah's national championship, I won it on a jackhammer, 3/4 ounce and an ounce and a quarter in 50 foot of water. You know, one of the weirdest bites that you would ever think, you know, that even exist, you know, but that's how I caught every one of my fish, and I probably caught over 50 that day. So, I mean, absolutely, man. It's helped me because, I mean, I know everything
But
changes.
it's interesting because like you see your persistence, and I feel like it's the same for California guys and even some Arizona guys too. Like being tenacious is a word that's thrown a lot around here, you know, staying on a spot and picking apart like a rock pile and going all the way around it instead of just like one time. And you carrying that same mentality from your Utah waters to Florida, and look at the way that you were fishing Florida. You said you went back and forth like a few times on that stretch, and like you were just like constantly casting and being tenacious. And I feel like from a guy that has to catch most of his fish out here with a spinning rod, when you get out there in these waters where you could power fish, it ups your power fish game because you're so used to picking stuff apart. When you go into that power fishing aspect of it, you carry that same mentality, and look at how successful you are. I mean, how in the heck does a guy from Utah show up and just catch like 20, 30, 25 pounds in Florida? It's because of his determination to A, not keep his line out of the water, and B, he's just tenacious as hell. Even when he comes back to the boat ramp, he's still casting, trying to catch one more fish. Like, those are the kind of things that it takes to get those trophy and checks that you have behind you. And a lot of that has to do with from where you're from, to be honest. I mean, that's what I think.
No, absolutely. I 100% believe you, Shane. Like, seriously, like, I was just like a boat fisherman, man. I'd roll up to a spot and be like, oh, cool, 5 casts. I'm going, boom. I didn't have no motor. So but I'd be like, and just get out of the way, you know? But like, it's changed my entire game because I am absolutely a power fisherman like no other. That's literally what I love to do, man. I literally will throw frogs from sun up to sundown, whether you call that power or not. You know, like that is literally a rivet and a live target. That's literally all. I don't know why I don't like buzz baits, but I will throw them son of a guns all day if I can. But now I'm able to pick so much more apart.
So we're already at like that 50-minute mark right now, and we've heard the whole story of your, 10 Invitational Pro Series. So winning the 10, and for those of you guys in the comment section right now, and for those of you guys that are watching, if you guys want to ask some questions, we'll get you some of those questions answered for you by Cody.
Well, it sounds like we got a story we got to hear, but we'll wait till the end for that.
Okay.
Something about a bird fight.
Oh, flip.
Cody versus the cranes.
We'll save that for the end.
Oh, man, those freaking birds, dude.
Dude, they sounded like at one point, dude, I was like, is there an ape or a orangutan or something in this bush behind me, dude? Like, they make some funny noises down there, bro.
There was one over here, and apparently they were mating, and I was in their area. It was crazy, dude. Like, I'm like having this full-on conversation. I know he heard me, but he just wasn't putting up with me. He's like, get out now. I'm like, okay, I'm turning around. You will.
I saw you point the finger at the crane, and I was dying, bro.
I was about to flip at him, but then I started to think I might endanger wildlife. Then I can't hurt the bird, but man.
They were hot, bro. They were freaking hot.
They were.
They thought you looked like another crane. They were coming in for you. Bro.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, so one thing that I have for you, obviously you kind of carried that, that pattern into the 10. You were burning the chatterbait. So you went, let's just kind of skip forward a little bit because we're, I want to kind of keep it around an hour and 10 if we can.
Okay.
So Cody Henley wins the 10. And what have you seen happen since you were able to hold that trophy up? What in your life has changed since you won KBF the 10? Because that is arguably, one of the most coveted trophies that you could possibly get in our sport. So how has that changed, your life basically?
Oh, I think there's a lot of ways, man. Like, this was kind of a risk and a gamble for me to go out and fish full time, and throw up 25, 30 national trails per year, I feel like it helped not only me, to gain confidence in myself. I even thought to myself, like, oh, it was a fluke. I accidentally won. But I'm like, dang. And when I got home, I'm like, I accidentally won for 7 days in a row. No, maybe I do know how to fish a little bit. Maybe I got a little bit of skill, but like, it really helped me.
You have a lot of skill, bro. You have a lot of skill, not a little bit.
I appreciate it, man. It helped my family a lot, to know that I can go out there and do this for a living, and provide for my family. Right now, it's just me and my wife. But one day I will have kids, and I might not be able to travel as much. So I'm trying to get it in as much as I can while I don't have any kids. But, man, it was after hearing about the 10 and going there and to experiencing it firsthand, man, it was no question in my mind, one of the most important things that's happened to me in my fishing career. Just the being around those guys, every single one of them are phenomenal anglers, phenomenal people. Like they have, I don't know, I really can't express it, like the having the opportunities to have a sponsorship and for them to help me out, while I also help and promote their company, that I never even heard of that stuff until like a year ago, like what is that? Like what is it? What do you do? Like does they give you food or what can they do? But no, man, it's been absolutely life changing, like because you're right, who am I? Where did I come from? Like, but like I mean, this is literally the first time I'm ever really even putting myself out there to go fishing, to do this national, and to actually do this full time. And I mean, it won't be the last. I'll tell you that right now. Like this is, I work my butt off to get where I am now, and I'm not going to stop. I have one.
Yeah.
Man, I have one of the greatest sponsors on my side, just like every single one of us do, and that's God. And that's no question in my mind. He's the only reason why I was able to do that. I don't live my life perfectly by any means, but I dang near try my hardest to be the best person that I can for others. So it's changed my life completely, and it hopefully will continue to change me and my family's life.
That's awesome, dude.
That is awesome.
What about that's just incredible. And for you to use that platform to express your faith too, I give you props for that, man. So
Appreciate it.
what about like being in the 10 house? Like what like not let's just not talk about the fishing. Let's put fishing aside, but like let's talk about like the 10 house. Like how is it? Like I know they kind of share about it, but it seems a little bit kind of like low key in the house. Like what's going on in there?
Dude, it hands down, Chad and Christy and their whole team deserve the biggest round of applause. Like Christy's amazing, Chad's awesome for what they're doing for us. Like every day when you get off the water, dinner's served. Like their feet. I don't know if I'm supposed to say this. Sorry, Chad, but like literally, dinner served. Everything out here is made for you. Like when you walk into the tent house, you literally have probably $3,000 worth of access. Maybe not that high, but I mean,
it's quite a bit.
So much.
It's quite a bit,
it's so much stuff. Like,
and it's all like super relevant, like awesome stuff. It's like
it's everything that you can use. Yeti stuff, DZ stuff, all the Yakatak stuff you need. Yakatak poles. You got literally everything you could think of. A kayak cushion with it labeled DZ Top 10, like a board that literally says Top 10 with Cody Henley on it. I'm like, what the? Like that's a trophy case for me, dude. That ain't going on no fish. There ain't no fish touching that. But I mean, it was awesome. We had breakfast made for us. We had our lunch to take out on the water. Just being around those people was phenomenal. And that is no question in my mind. My number one goal for next year is to make it to the 10 again. From here on out, I don't want to skip a year.
Brian, I don't know about you, man, but like one thing for me, at least, like when I'm going and fishing these events, especially KBF, like for some reason, like I would love to win the national championship. Don't get me wrong. I would love to win the national championship, win all that money.
Me too.
But there's just something about the way that they market the 10. It's like so sick.
Yeah, I'd rather bomb the NC and win the 10. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's
not even about the money, dude. Screw the money. Honestly, like the money's the money, like whatever it is, but like just winning the 10 and being there.
Heck yeah.
You know what I mean?
Man. Yeah, dude. It was life changing.
Well, I mean, not only that, but like you got 10 of the top anglers in the country all in one place. There's some fish secrets being told, along with some fish stories. Don't get me wrong. But especially in the kayak fishing community, like I'm sure all you guys got along. It was a great time. New friendships were made, old friendships were rekindled, and so on and so forth, man. And it's just to have a couple days in that house and just chat with those 10 anglers. Well, 11, right? Was it 11 or 12?
It was 11 of us.
12 either way. Yeah, either way. I mean, like just some of the stories I'm sure that could be told from the conversations that were had in the evening.
Gene Jensen was there with us too. Like Gene's an awesome guy, was master. Like I have to tell a small story. got in the 10, and like everyone's talking about like what they were throwing, like where they were throwing it, how they were catching all their fish. And I'm like, they trying to trick me. I ain't gonna let them do it. I ain't gonna let them do it. They trying to get to me. And they were 100% honest, man. They were literally telling everything, being super awesome, like weren't trying to hide anything, like literally just super awesome. I talked to Milton today, like literally friendships made, like literally just awesome people, man. Like that experience was top notch on me as a kayak angler. You know, that was top notch.
And one thing that we talked about a couple days ago on the phone, Cody, that you can maybe elaborate on. There's a lot of anglers throughout the country that do really well for 3 events, right? They do the KBF trails, and they do a really good, they have a really good showing for those events, and they possibly have the opportunity to go to the national championship and be in the 10 and win the national championship. But for a lot of anglers, sometimes it's hard for guys to take that week off of work and go compete in the NC and I basically take that risk to make that happen. But you literally fished 3 events. You were sitting in like the top 20, and instead of being like, Caddo's kind of far, like it's going to take a lot of money, it's going to take a lot of time off of work, and it's going to be a week or two of my life. But look at what has came from you just taking that one step to the NC and then following it up, going to the 10. Look what's came of that, dude. Like you literally have broke into the national scene, just a guy from Utah, pretty big in Utah, and then now you're a household name in the whole kayak community nationally, dude. That's just congratulations, man. That's just phenomenal. But do you want to just like elaborate a little bit on like that step to like just pursue it, I guess?
No, absolutely. Like my step or what I took or for what everyone should do.
Like what you took, like what
So
Cody took, and what everyone like just kind of talk about like what you took, like that step to go.
yeah, no, it was a huge step, man. Like, dude, I spent $4,000 going down there, like, and that was me. I spend extra wherever I can. I probably bought like once I was down there, I can't make lures, dude. So I had to go to the freaking. I don't know. I have this like weird addiction where, oh, cool, I'm off the water. Let's go to the tackle shop. Cool, I'll see you there. And it just isn't the greatest. So it was probably $3,000 to $4,000 is what I spent down there after everything, and it was a huge step, man. But like the most rewarding thing that I ever could have done, I bombed it on day 3 for some random reason. I was getting 92 inches every single day at the same place. I just randomly decided to go to another ramp and fish another way. Finally get to my spot, and someone's sitting on my spot where I usually fish with like 1 hour left, and just threw me off, man. And I got like 80 inches that day, or 78 and 79 inches. But like those first 2 days is obviously what mattered to get into the 10. And just the greatest decision I could have made was to go down there. But also it was so easy too. Like I had someone drive my kayak down. Like it was.
You made it work. You made it work for you. You got to make it work.
That's right. It might have been a little hard talking the wife into it, but I mean, it was a little challenging.
It always is. No matter what.
It's never easy, bro.
Yeah, you're exactly
Dude,
right.
check this out. When I went to Gunnersville 2 years ago, I think, or a year and a half ago, like it's funny. Let's just talk about this for a second, but talking our wives into it. Okay. So instead of me coming from California and saying, hey babe, I'm going to be gone for like a week and a half. Okay. That's just, for us, it's just not going to happen. So I had to make a decision to go out there no matter what. And I literally had my buddy Anthony, he just posted right here, Anthony Garcia. He drove my kayak to Gunnersville. I flew in the day before day 1 of Gunnersville, had about 4 or 5 hours on the water, and then ended up doing well and placing like 13th in the Challenge Series Championship. And then right after that, flew back home. So I was gone 3 days. But if I didn't even take that opportunity, which was presented to me, which worked well with my family and everything, I would have never got that experience. I would have never met the people that I met. I would have never placed like I placed, which has helped me in other areas, like, other sponsorship areas and just national recognition and just all these things. That would have never happened if I didn't just like push the limit of what I was able to do in the moment and go and experience and fish Gunnersville, which is a bucket list lake for me, just like I'm sure Caddo was a bucket list lake for you. At the same time, you're taking all these risks. You get to experience incredible fisheries at the same time out of a plastic kayak.
Oh, dude, so much fun, dude.
Like going to
You're right.
Kissimmee, dude. Like you said, remember on the phone the other day, you're like, dude, I would have never gone to Kissimmee for anything else other than what I just did. And you got to experience that, bro. So
that's right.
That's just incredible, dude. So I don't know. For those of you that are on the fence with KBF or Hobie BOS or Bass Nation about pursuing something, look at a guy like Cody who literally dropped everything, took a risk, went out to the NC, did well, went to the 10, won the 10. It could be you guys. You never know, man. You gotta go out there and fish and keep your line in the water.
That's right, man.
So kind of wrapping it up now. I know we're past that hour mark. There's a lot of people watching and commenting. I don't see a ton of questions coming in, but I feel like you really covered everything very thoroughly and well. We appreciate you having you on the show as well, dude. And for my podcast, as like, trying to highlight the West, seeing you do what you did I was just on cloud 9 myself, just seeing a Western region angler going out there and doing his thing and taking home these trophies. So congratulations again, bro. So Brian, do you have anything as we let him close it?
No, man, it's been an honor to sit down, just talk and listen for the most part on my end. And it's cool, man. Congratulations again. And look forward. Like I said, man, you came out this season just swinging and, obviously a force to be reckoned with, not only in KBF, but obviously Bass and Hobie as well. It's cool, man. And it's going to be really cool to see you continue to grow on the national scene for sure.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate y'all for sure. Absolutely. I'm excited for this year, man. Hopefully this can be a good year.
One question that Anthony just asked, are you going to be going to Roosevelt in Arizona?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
I'll be there. Everyone should come. Just pack up and go, man.
Just everyone come.
Lake, dude. It's fun. Last time when I wasn't able to travel, when I had a full-time job as an electrician, we drove down there like Thursday night, fished Friday, and literally just started on the Salt River and had no clue there was any other clear water. And like in the middle of the day, we drove up and was like, the lake is clear down here. So like, it's so nice to be able to like go somewhere and be like, oh, cool. I got 4 days to check this place out.
Yeah.
Let's get it.
Heck yeah.
Heck yeah, bro. What's after Roosevelt? What's next for you as far as your tournament series go?
I'm looking into the ABA stuff. I'm trying to get scheduled off right now. I might hit up Lake whatever that place is.
Pardee?
No, yep. That's not ABA. That's actually Bass Nation.
That's Bass Nation, yeah.
Okay, so I'm looking into that just because my March is pretty open. But I'll hit up Roosevelt, KBF, Chatfield, Hobie Broken Bow, KBF Pine View. That's actually in Utah. Lower Otay with American Bass Association. That's right, American Bass Association.
Yep.
And after Otay, I'll run. I got a few local trails in July. And then as soon as August hits, we got the West Coast Championship that I'm going to try my hardest to qualify for. And the West Coast, there's a KBF trail actually out there at that time too.
Well, hey, if you come to the Delta, you can qualify for the West Coast Championship at the ABA.
Dude. I know. I think I just figured out my mom's in town that week.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I can't. And then Hobie Darnell National Championships at Kentucky Lake. And then Tournament of Champions.
Awesome, dude. Well, Cody, maybe take this second just to kind of plug where people can follow you and any sponsors you want to thank, and then we'll just go ahead and wrap it up.
Absolutely. Follow me. Brian, did you do that? You did a phenomenal job.
I did.
My Instagram is just Henley Custom Lures, or you can even type in Cody Henley, You can find me on just Cody Henley. YouTube's the same thing as Cody Henley. I'm going to start like really doing better and being consistent at those videos. I suck at those, man. I got like 12 edits right now, but I'm going to do better at those and keep those coming. And then I'm going to try to do like better of like teaching videos. You know, for the longest time, I'm like, what do I have to teach people? So I'm going to try to do a better job at just, I don't care what people think, you know, and just going over techniques and seeing if I can help someone that don't know, or even teach them how to get into a kayak, you know, and fish in tournaments, you know. So
Awesome.
that's really it. Facebook's the same thing, Cody Henley. And I do have to, I'm not going to run down and give like a crazy shout out to every single, like a rundown through my sponsors, but I got to get at least a shout out for everything. Yak Rods, best kayak rod out there, dude. I can't even freaking describe how awesome they are, what they've done for us and the community. Like, they're literally building rods for you and me, like for us. And you can use my code Henley10. It will save you some money as well. So 13 Fishing, Dakota Lithium, Kayak Cushion, P-Line, Battle Baits, Rogue Fishing, Newport Vessels, and just jumped on board with the Yak Attack. So I'm excited to be a part of their team as well this year.
Awesome, bro. Hey, let's see that trophy really quick. Put that trophy up to the screen.
Dude, this thing's heavy.
Is it catch boards like underneath?
Yeah, it is. All this is catch boards right here. This right here is a catch board. So you got like the first place.
Yeah.
And then on the back is the names of each individual person that was in it that year.
I love that they did that. That's really sick.
Yeah, so it's pretty. Yeah, it's
That's
sick,
awesome,
man.
bro.
It's
Heck
freaking
yeah.
sick.
Sick.
Yeah.
Well, I think that does it for tonight's episode, guys. Cody, again, thank you for coming on. Congratulations. Can't wait to follow along and see how your year pans out this year. I have a feeling you've heard it here first. Cody Henley's going to win the national championship this year for KBF.
Oh,
So,
snap.
There's my prediction for Cody. He's taking home the NC. There's no doubt. No doubt in my mind.
I like it.
Unless I go, then he'll take second.
That's right. There you go.
Ooh.
No. So anyways, guys, thank you so much for listening. Brian, thanks for coming on tonight as well.
Anytime,
Appreciate you,
man.
Bro.
Yeah.
That does it for tonight's episode. As always, guys, keep your thumbs ripped.
Thanks for tuning in to another killer episode here on Paddle and Fin. Be sure to drop a 5-star rating, a thumbs up, or smash that subscribe button on any platform you're listening in on. Be sure to check us out on Waypoint TV, waypointtv.com. Make sure you sign up for the Fantasy Kayak Fishing League at paddleandfin.com/fantasy. You could support this show through Patreon, patreon.com/paddleandfin. Don't forget to check out the website, paddleandfin.com. Catch us on YouTube. If you got a question, comment, or want to see a future guest on the show, be sure to email us at paddleandfin@gmail.com. Shout out to our show supporters, Yak Gadget. You can check out all the fine kayak accessories at yakgadget.com. Pelican Professional. For all your cases, coolers, and lighting needs, go to pelican.com. Rocktown Adventures, your Midwest premier paddle sports destination. Go to rocktownadventures.com. Eastport Marina, the beautiful destination on Dale Hollow Lake. If you're looking for lodging, kayaks, kayak accessories, or anything fishing related on the beautiful Dale Hollow Lake, go to eastport.info. And Jigmasters Jigs. When in doubt, get the jig out. Go to jigmasters.com and fill your tackle boxes today.